Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kate. I work in the Career Development Center as the Employer Relations Manager, and I'm being joined by Claudia, who is a market recruiter for Aflac, and she's going to be talking to us today about life at Aflac, some of the roles that they have available that they're hiring for now, and a lot of other stuff. So we're very excited, and thank you so much for being here, Claudia.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate and Samantha.
Yeah. So I guess we could start with what your position is as a market recruiter, what that entails, kind of what led you to this point in your career, and anything else you really want to tell us.
Okay, sure. So my name is Claudia Oliveira, and I am currently the market recruiter for Aflac in the states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York South. I started this position April 1st of this year. But I originally started with Aflac back in 2014. I came in as a benefits advisor, which is kind of our entry-level position. My background before I got into sales, because I never did anything with sales, I worked at a local hospital in Connecticut as a supervisor for the patient transport department. So I really didn't have any sales background, but I had leadership and management training. So that was kind of my skill set. I had a little boy at the time, and I really wanted to kind of have more of a flexible career. I felt like I was missing out working weekends and holidays, and I really wanted to do something else. I actually had gotten my master's degree in management and organizational leadership at a local school in New Haven, and wanted to kind of, move around in my career and just wanted something different. Aflac had reached out to me, and initially I was like, oh, I don't know anything in sales, so this is probably not for me. And probably an hour before the interview, I was still kind of hemming and hawing and was like, no, maybe not. But then I decided, you know what, let me just at least find more information, just really educate myself and learn more about it, because there wasn't much going on, and I felt, let me just try it out, right? If I don't like it, I don't really need to participate. Or not move forward with anything that they have to offer. So I went. Always one of my things is that make sure that you double check the location of where you're going. I found out that I had the wrong address and went to the wrong place. So I was actually a couple of minutes late for my interview. So make sure that you guys double check the location, or the time that you need to be somewhere. And I would give yourself at least an extra half hour to 15 minutes to really get to where you're going, because I found that I was late, which is always not a good thing. So went to the interview, and they had group sessions. So they have multiple people, just kind of really so that they kind of overview at the same time a group of people. I spoke to the regional manager. I learned that, Aflac was really had a lot of corporate responsibility out in the community, really focuses on helping. They have a whole children's hospital down in Atlanta that they, work with. And I really found that a lot of things that they do were really to help other people, which I always enjoyed doing. So I kind of went through the session. I always think of it as drinking the KoolAid, because I was gung-ho. I loved it. I was like, wow, I could really do this. But it was also interesting because it was the type of position where it was pay for performance. So if any of you guys have ever work somewhere as just a regular, W-2, you get paid a certain amount, and that's how much you earn per hour, right? Or if your salary, that's a certain amount that you get per week or per month. And this type of job and career was really, the harder you work, the more you get paid. What I really thought and I enjoyed was that there was no ceiling cap. So I could make as much as I wanted to, or if I wanted to just work part-time, I could also just work part-time, right? It was totally up to me because it was a pay per performance. That was both exciting and scary at the same time, because I felt like, hey, if I work super, super hard, I'm going to be able to, have a decent living. If I decide that I wanted to work part-time, because I did have, a little boy at the time, then that was okay too, because this was my career. So I really liked that flexibility. I did have to get state certified, because you do get licensed with the state of Connecticut or whatever state that you're in. So if you lived in New York or Rhode Island or any other state in the United States, you get certified, licensed with the Department of Insurance. So I did have to pass a test. So I did have to take, some coursework and things like that in order to pass my test. And I really felt that, hey, if I pass this on the first go around, because all you had to get was a 70. And I know coming from the school systems, we always want to get an A or, get over 90%. And with this type of examination, as long as you had a 70, you were good to go. So I was like, as long as I get a 70, I am good. I got a 74. I was happy that I passed. So I was like, hey, that's all you need, because it really doesn't matter if you got a 70 or 100, right? You still pass with the state. So I passed, and I got my license actually July. I think it was like July 11th. It was right around this time. But it took me 6 months in order to leave my current position at the hospital. It was kind of a transition period, just because, right, I was going from, right, getting a steady paycheck to really relying on pay per performance, right, which is what we call it. So by the end of January of 2015, I finally took the leap, and I said, hey, I'm going to go gung-ho on this and, become the benefits advisor. So I started that right at the beginning of 2015, worked as a benefit advisor, which is our entry-level position. Really what that is helping businesses, small businesses, really kind of navigate through the healthcare landscape. There's so many different things that are out there. Healthcare is very, very, I wouldn't say convoluted, but it's very intricate and there's a lot of stuff going on. So really what we were trying to do with Aflac is really help people kind of understand and really position them to, if they got sick or hurt, to get money back during those times. Because, when we get sick or hurt, our bills are still coming in, and, we still need money to survive, to pay the rent, to pay the mortgage, right? The car payment, to, buy groceries, we got to take our kids to daycare, right? All those bills still come in, even if we get sick or hurt. So really Aflac is there to continue to help you with your lifestyle during a time of need. So I did that role for the first year. I got into our leadership and training program because I always liked helping others, and, especially when we were starting off, and I always liked the management and leadership role. So I got into our leadership and training program right at the beginning of my first year, and then I was promoted to a district sales coordinator at the beginning of my second year. So I did that role for 2 years. So I had a group of people that, were under my team, and we worked together, really building, again, small businesses, helping small businesses, and really helping the team grow, and helping them kind of get through, the beginnings and trainings and going out in the field together. So that was really exciting. And at the end, so that was end of year 3. And at the end of year 3, I had the opportunity to take on a corporate trainer role out in Arizona. So the corporate trainer role still with Aflac. It was kind of one of those things where it was on my career bucket list, I would say. I always loved the training aspect of the roles, and this was part of, doing it on another level. I did have to move 2,400 miles because I lived in Connecticut with my family, and then decided, hey, let's take this leap, another leap over to Arizona. Never been to Arizona before. So it was quite interesting, and just really, those whole dynamics, and, beautiful state, super hot. So if you love the sun, definitely go visit. It's got a lot of outdoor activities, mountains, and all the way around, it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful place. And the only thing was missing was my family and my friends. So 2.5 years later, here we are, and I had the opportunity to come back to Connecticut to take on this corporate recruiter role now, and really just, helping to, navigate through the different colleges and really sourcing, helping, pull candidates to really learn more about the experience. I think it's important that, we're all educated on what it really is about. I think that's the first step, and that's really kind of what led us here. This is now 6 years later since I originally came to Aflac. I think it's been a great experience. And what I love the most about Aflac is that you could really work anywhere. So if you decided that, hey, you wanted to go to California or, Michigan or wherever, we're in every state. And what's nice is that once you're licensed in one state, then you can take your license anywhere and really get what's called a non-resident license. So you don't have to take your test again. You take the test once, and you continue to have your license throughout. So I think the corporate, recruiter role really allows me to meet different people, like Kate and Samantha here, and just really develop connections. I think the biggest thing is developing those connections and really networking with people. You never know where life's going to take you. I always believe that developing relationships is key, just because, we kind of go on these different paths and these different journeys, and we meet all different kinds of people, and it's important to really maintain those relationships. And, you know, looking forward, you know, to the future, you just never know where life leads you. And it's definitely important to kind of build a network, because you just never know who other people know and how, you know, we can really help each other out.
And you mentioned in the beginning, like your first interview with Aflac, you mentioned that you kind of like drank the Kool-Aid. What kind of did it for you for Aflac? Why was that such an exciting opportunity for you at the time?
Yep. So I really think, you know, when I say that I drank the Kool-Aid, you know, they really talked about how they helped others. And I always had a passion for helping others. And it wasn't just helping others on your team, but it was helping people in a time of need. You know, we definitely have all types of policyholders that, you know, maybe have gotten into an accident, or maybe diagnosed with cancer, or, you know, have had some heart issues, or, you know, come down, especially lately, right? You know, this whole COVID-19, we've had a lot of policyholders that have been affected, you know, by the sickness, and being able to help them in a time of need when they can't work, or, you know, maybe they got sick and now their job is no longer available. You know, through our policies, you know, we were able to pay them throughout this time. So that's really, you know, back then, 6 years ago, we didn't have COVID, but people were diagnosed with cancer. People have had accidents. People have been, you know, disabled, right? So I think all of that combined really showed me that it was a company that was really there to help people. You know, a lot of times when we think of insurance companies, when we think of like our car insurance, or, you know, other insurance companies that, you know, well, we've all been through this, right? We've had an accident and it's like pulling teeth to get paid on something. You know, Aflac is very different. We want to pay our policyholders. That's why, you know, we invest so much in that, to make sure that, you know, our policyholders understand their policies, and making sure that when something happens, we are there to help them and get them paid. You know, that's really, I think, what the Kool-Aid was for me.
Awesome. Everyone's Kool-Aid is a little different.
I like the red Kool-Aid.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you say blue for Aflac, blue Kool-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. So with this pandemic, you kind of brought it up. So you said it's very normal for people, employees of Aflac, to work from anywhere. Is there a traditional office space? What does, you know, what did the pandemic really do to your work? Is it always remote? You know, kind of what does that look like?
Yep. So, great question. So I work out of the market office. So every state has a market office. So ours, for the state of, because I cover Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York South, ours is actually in Shelton. And then each state has what's called a market office, which is part of kind of the corporate, we're kind of the extension of the corporate office, right? So we have a market director, right? So he's the director for the state. We have the corporate trainer, we have the corporate recruiter. We have what's called our market asset analyst, which helps with our existing accounts. And then we have our market coordinator. So those 5 individuals actually house out of a market office. But ever since March, when the COVID-19 kind of really took off, and, you know, a lot of people were starting to work from home, we were able to work remotely. Now, we also assist and help 6 regional offices. So we have 6 regional offices throughout our market. So in Connecticut, we have 3 offices, in Glastonbury, Milford, and then Norwalk. And then Rhode Island, we have 1 office out in Warwick. And then New York, we have 2 offices, 1 out in the Hudson Valley area and 1 out in Westchester. That's just for our particular market. So once COVID really hit, all those offices were working remotely as well, working from home. So we're able to, same just like we're doing here, do virtual information sessions. So instead of coming to an office, if you wanted to learn more about Aflac, they all went virtual. So you kind of, you know, are sitting here in a virtual kind of waiting area here to learn more about it. And our regional, we have 6 regional managers, hiring managers, who kind of do the informational sessions. And then, you know, if the candidates are interested, then they do second interviews, which were kind of one-on-one. As far as our policyholders and our employers, same thing. We were holding virtual sessions with our business owners, with our policyholders, you know, a lot of phone calls. We can actually enroll our policyholders over the phone or over the computer. So everything pretty much went remote. The technology at Aflac had always been there, but I think definitely they had to scale it up just because of now the mass amount of agents that we're now working remotely and really trying to make sure that we're taking care of our clients, even though everything else kind of physically was kind of shut down, I would say, but virtually was definitely open for business. So we never really stopped. I think it definitely slowed down because, you know, like we've all said, right, it's definitely been a different way of life and a different way of doing business. But, you know, with the technology that, you know, our corporate offices have offered, we've definitely been able to continue to work and service our clients.
Awesome. And in terms of like how would you describe the culture at Aflac, the corporate culture? Is it a collaborative environment? Is it pretty, you know, autonomous? How would you describe the culture?
Yep. So I definitely say, you know, the Aflac, what we call the Aflac Nation, is definitely more of a family atmosphere. You know, there's a lot of different offices and a lot of different people, but you get to interact with so many people that, you know, you meet people from all across the country. So I think what's great about it is that you're able to network with all kinds of people throughout different levels, you know, different career paths, different experiences. It's really about helping each other because we really want everybody to succeed, right? That's the goal. We want people to succeed in the organization. And, you know, we do, you know, all types of training calls throughout the week. So we have calls at our, you know, market office level, at our regional level, and then our headquarters team also does calls with what we call our field force. So, you know, it's definitely the type of atmosphere that, you know, we want everybody to win, right? And we don't want anybody to feel like they're alone or left behind, or, you know, so we really try to develop that culture of, you know, relationship building and networking. And, you know, so for me, we have, you know, candidates that are studying, right? So right before they're studying for their test, I do a segment every week on Wednesdays that's called Lunch with the Duck, just to kind of check in with them and see how things are going and provide a training topic. And we have a guest speaker. And then, you know, each of the regional offices, you know, does something different with their team. So, you know, it's all about, you know, working together, and it's definitely the type of atmosphere that, you know, you feel part of a group, right? And I think that's what's most different, I think, about, you know, different companies that I've worked with, where, you know, it is collaborative and you do want to work together. And, you know, there's, of course, like any corporation, right, there's certain regulations that you have that you have to abide by. But I think for the most part, it definitely is a collaborative venture.
Awesome. And is there an actual duck like ever in the room? Is there a name for your duck mascot?
That's a great question. So the duck, it's just called the Aflac duck. I've never heard that it had a name. Unfortunately, my stuff's all in storage because I just moved out here. So we do have ducks that our corporate office sells, and actually all the proceeds from our ducks, when we buy ducks, go to our Aflac Cancer Center Hospital in Atlanta to help with the fight against cancer.
Wow.
So, but I have to find out, but no, I don't think the duck has a name. He's just the Aflac duck.
All right, that's fair. Just thought
Good question, Kate. Nobody's ever asked me that.
All right, cool. So I guess where we should go now is what kind of, if you want to talk about the positions that you have available that you're hiring for right now, and if you want to tell us a little bit about what those positions entail and the application process, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yep. So we currently are hiring for what's called our benefits advisory position. And that position is our entry-level position. So depending on your location, like I said, we have the 6 regional offices. So the goal would be to get you guys into a group information session just to learn more about the opportunity. Really, the benefit advisor position is really geared towards small businesses to, you know, market to small businesses to help them really figure out, you know, what is their benefit strategy within their you know, their accounts and for their employees. You know, some businesses don't even have any benefits to offer just because it's so expensive. What's great about our programs are, you know, they can be kind of fit into any type of account. So with our accounts, we really strive to having at least 3 employees, you know, in order to really market to them, because as long as we have 3 people, that creates an account or a group, and we're able to kind of sell them different policies based on their needs. Now, let's say, you know, there's a lot of businesses out there that are just single, right? It's just the business owner. We have products as well on our direct line, you know, to help, you know, single business owners as well. So really, you know, our goal really is marketing to the small businesses and, you know, really increasing our social presence, because right now with everything being so virtual, a lot of our marketing has gone over to LinkedIn, right? And so, and Facebook, and just really the social media. So really, I think, you know, college students are great with social media. So it's definitely a win-win to really market yourselves and really, you know, a new career path. And like I said before, you get educated on the opportunity with our regional hiring managers. And if it's something that, you know, you're interested in, then you would have to get licensed with the state of where you live, right? Because that's the only way that you'll be able to sell the programs and the services.
Great. And do you have any type of like an internship program as well, or is it kind of all entry level?
Yep. So we do have an internship program. So if anybody is interested in that, you know, we kicked off our summer interns, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. But we're always, you know, adding more. So if it's something that, you know, you're still looking forward to doing, or, you know, that's something of interest, and very similar to our entry level position where, you know, if you wanted to get licensed, because it is unpaid internship, but if you do get licensed, then you have the opportunity to get paid, you know, because again, it's a paid per performance type of environment. So there is no limit to that. So you definitely would be able to, you know, earn some money. What's great about, you know, with Aflac, and what's a little bit different about us, is that as the years go by, you get what's called residual income. So as you're selling policies today, you know, so let me give you an example of me. Back in 2014, when I started, any policies that I sold that are still being paid for now, I still get what's called residual income off of those policies. So a little bit different than, you know, if I was a car sales lady and I sold you a car, you know, I got paid once for that car, right? With Aflac, if I sold you something and you continue to pay on, as the years go on, I still get residual income. So it's really a great way to kind of build month over month. So if you think of students that are, you know, let's say they started the internship program, they got licensed, they, you know, sold to some clients, while they're in school, they're still going to get paid and beyond, as long as that policyholder is paying. So, you know, we like to say that, you know, residual income is something that is a long-term process, because the longer you stay in the company, right, the more you're going to get paid on it. Yeah. Which is nice. So it really helps you build those assets. I think a lot of times when we think of, you know, wealth and savings, you know, we don't think of those long-term assets that the money keeps coming in. Well, you know, it was things that you did in the past. So it's a nice way to kind of build for the future.
Yeah, definitely. So it's sort of like cumulative rather than just like a one-time transaction. Very cool. So what kind of person would be good for a role like this? Is there a specific major that you think, you know, you see being very successful in this? Is there a personality type? Are there any kind of indicators of success for you?
That's a good question. So, you know, I think as far as majors, you know, I think all majors, we love all majors. Like, we don't have a specific one that I would say stands out always, because I think that the type of personality or characteristics that we're looking for, really people who are entrepreneurs, people who like talking to other people who are outgoing, creative, who, you know, want to, you know, really develop those relationships. I think those are the types of individuals that are successful. The ones that, you know, keep asking questions and, you know, don't give up, right? It's the type of career that, you know, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, right? That's not the path, but you do need to work hard, right? You need to market, you need to talk to business owners, right? You need to talk to policyholders, and really educate other people. So as long as you are able to have a conversation, as long as you have a positive attitude, and as long as, you know, I think sometimes opening up our front door, or maybe opening up our door to a business, or even picking up the phone becomes super heavy. But as long as you can do those things, you definitely will be successful. I mean, you think of, for those of you that like sports analogies, right? If I'm a baseball player and, if I go up to bat 10 times and if I hit 3 times, I have a 300 average, and that's spectacular, right? So if you think of it in terms of, Aflac, and if you had market to 10 businesses and you sold to 3, you're going to be a superstar. So, I mean, you think of it that way, right? As long as you can, do the work, you're going to be successful at it.
Awesome. So all of you extroverts out there, this seems like a good call for you.
And the introverts. I mean, what's really interesting is that by nature, I've always been an introvert. And I think, going through this journey definitely pushes you in ways that you never realized that you could. And really, it helps expand you beyond. It's really getting outside your comfort zone, right? The more uncomfortable you get, the more comfortable you get. Is really the key.
Absolutely. Yep. And on that note, are there like professional development opportunities, resources available to make sure that, people who may not necessarily gravitate towards that type of a field usually will be able to perform?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have what's called our field force it's kind of like our own website. So there's a lot of material there to really get ourselves educated, a lot of online sources that, we can utilize. We have a training department within our market, and then we have headquarters training department as well. So there's different classes that are offered with them. There's virtual training classes that we can, set up for with our agents. Within our regional offices, again, they offer trainings as well. And then just, really, different people within the organization to help with mentorship. I think that it's important that, we kind of, within our groups, just kind of really reach out. And, people are always willing to help. And, we have what we call veterans. And they always, definitely love interacting with, newer agents, and especially with, new college kids that are coming in, and, it's really giving you, the insights. And hey, when I first started out, these are some tips that, we recommend not to do, or these were things that kind of help. So really, there's definitely a huge support system.
That's great. Awesome. So my last question, and I ask everyone this, class of 2020 obviously is having a rough time. They just graduated into a pandemic. What advice do you have, life advice, career advice, just general, any tidbits that you can give to our students who are graduating into this crazy world?
Yep. So the world, I think, has always been crazy. I just think now with the social media, we just know it much sooner. But I want to say congratulations to all of you guys who have graduated, especially during this time. It's very different than when any of us have graduated. But I think be positive, right? I think the world needs to know that we can adapt, and you guys are adaptable. As you know, you've gone through it, right? You've gone through this and tough times, and life is meant to be lived, and unfortunately, it's not meant to be perfect. I believe, life is a journey, right? And sometimes we have to go through certain things. And I would say, make sure that you're connected on LinkedIn. Connect with as many people as you can. You guys can definitely connect with me, because the more people you connect with, the more opportunities you're going to be able to see out there what's going on. I think definitely following, certain companies or certain people that are things that you're interested in. You can really find great resources there to really, get the kind of the career, the position that you're looking for. I think, don't be afraid to, step outside that comfort zone. Maybe you were majoring in a certain thing, and I will tell you guys that when I went to college, I graduated from Sacred University, and I majored in criminal justice. And I am not doing anything in criminal justice except maybe asking a lot of questions. But, it's okay to venture out and really, figure out what are those things that you love to do, because, when you love doing something every day, it doesn't feel like work, right? And it's really, what are you passionate about? What are those things that make you happy? What is something that you can do to really fulfill yourself and, make a career out of it. I would say, just because you're done with school doesn't mean that you stop learning or educating yourselves. I know that, going through school, it's like, oh, the last thing I want to do is read another book or, study another chapter. But, we have to continue to learn even, and I'm sure Kate and Samantha feel the same way, but we continue to learn as well. I mean, reading up on things or picking up a new book or, really developing, watching podcasts. And I know, the generations now love videos. I know my son loves videos and just little things like that that really help you, continue to educate and continue to learn, because that is the wave of the future.
Absolutely. And I think that's very well said. Samantha, do you have any questions you'd like to add before we, all right, great. Anything else you would like to add, Claudia, that we may not have covered?
No, just thanking you guys for having me. I appreciate your time, and I will send Kate, we have a link. So if anybody's interested in learning more, I have an intern link and I have a benefits advisor link. So if any of the grads or any of the current students are interested in learning more, I will get you guys that link, and that link will come to me, and then I'll connect with you guys and really help you guys figure out, if it's, you want to learn more about the opportunity, which regional office would work, and then we can take it from there.
Great. Perfect. Yes. And also the postings are on CharterLink as well for all of our students out there. So if you're interested in learning more about there too, we'll post this right on the video here. And yeah, and definitely reach out to Claudia, connect with her on LinkedIn, connect with all of us on LinkedIn. Let's get our networks working for us. And thank you all for being here. And thank you, Claudia.